What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Sports Bible Podcast. I am joined here by my co-host Rob. This episode 21, I believe, even though episode 20, I think the last one was a special with Doug Edert. If you haven't seen that yet, click that right corner right there or that corner. I'm going to put both fingers up. It's in one of these corners. Click that link to watch the full episode. It's like 20 minutes. Very interesting.
Brian Windhurst. Is that what you just did?
He was that was such a dramatic thing. Like he was talking like he was reading a book.
I literally love it. I made it my profile pick in the Dynasty League, and I was just watching NBA today when I got home, and Malika was interviewing him about it. They were like, "That was very good," and they were like praising him like for like his enthusiasm and his dramatic way of giving some analysis there.
Yeah, he's smart. He's one of the better ones, but it's just funny is that like he's like a walking meme, but like a walking good meme.
Yeah.
Like whenever you see him, it's like I don't know. He's really smart. He's usually on the money. Everyone talks about Woj and Shams, but Brian Winter seems to be ahead of everyone. Or Windy, I think they call him.
That is what they call him. He was with the Harden Simmons trade, and even before this, like the Jazz deal, I quoted like this Laker page, and they posted his quote and what he said on the Hoop Collective, his podcast, and he was like even if Kyrie, like before the news broke, which we'll get into, he was like even if Kyrie opted in, like it's still, you could still maybe see some rumors of him and Westbrook or rumors of Kyrie and the Lakers in general. And yeah, he really is like quietly, arguably the GOAT of the network and of all basketball analysts. And yeah, like for people we went into like a whole thing about this last episode in the beginning, like unintentionally too, which is fun. And yeah, like for people like me and you, that's actually cool. That you see someone like get into it like that and just have that art and passion, and then it spoke it into existence, really.
Yeah. So do you know who the Brian Windhorst of the NFL is?
It's probably
Just name any guy. Schefter, Rappaport. I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you.
Just said the network was unstable, but it looked like it came in a little slow after what I just said.
Then their network was the Nets. It's unstable.
All right, so the Windhurst of football, it's not Schefter. I don't think it's Marcus Spears. I don't think it's Orlovsky.
Wow, you're forgetting somebody.
Mina Kimes.
Wow, you're forgetting
Or Rutledge. Who is it?
Ian Rappaport.
That is true.
Well, anyway, that was a question to get into our first topic. I was just talking about how I hate doing segments like that, and I just go into it. Nice. Anyway, so Ian Rappaport today reported finally. What'd you say? What'd you say?
No, we like that one a lot. I like that. I like the transition.
So finally, it's been March, I think. Deshaun Watson got traded to the Browns. Finally, they make a trade for to the Carolina Panthers for Baker Mayfield. Meaning, you get what I'm saying. The Carolina Panthers traded for Baker Mayfield today for a conditional fifth-round pick. Anything in return they were going to get. I think I saw the Cleveland's paying $10 million and Carolina's paying $8.5 million. I'll put the details in the middle of the screen. And, I'll go on. No, let's have a conversation about this. So I feel, it's a good move. Like, for people that don't know, Baker's my favorite player. And I just wanted to see him play. And it just so happens, guess who they play week 1, Rob?
The Browns.
Yep. And that should be interesting. I think it's in Charlotte. Because the Browns' first home game is week 2 against the Jets. So, I mean, like I said, I'm a Baker fan. I'm a Cleveland Browns fan, but they kind of I don't want to say botched the situation, but I don't know. It's just a little weird that it took this long to make such a simple decision. Like you're willing to put out 230 million guaranteed into Watson, but you had to wait this long just to cut Baker's salary in half. Like if you were gonna get a fifth round pick no matter how much you had to pay. So I don't know.
That
From
was
my
the
perspective, I'm
yeah.
just happy he's playing. He's going. Well, he's battling Sam Darnold for the QB1. All right, cool. Um, I've seen Sam Darnold play long enough.
Hey, poor Robbie Anderson too, man.
Well, he said today, like, stop trying to paint this narrative of me. And Emmanuel Acho responded with, "You can't blame someone when you hand them the brush to paint it." Because you could have said like, "No, I'm good with Sam," not no, but you know what I mean. Like you could have, like, like Robbie Anderson hasn't really. I just don't think he's that good. Um, I don't want to waste my breath on Robbie Anderson's career. There's a reason
He
why
also
he
could have. Wait,
what?
am I lagging right now?
There you good.
I was also going to say, weren't they teammates on the Jets as well? So like he might have been sticking up for Sam.
He said he was, but you can say that without saying no, like you just fell off a cliff.
Yeah, and I everything we say I bring to a Celtic comparison, but last year before Harden got moved to Brooklyn, you remember Shemi Ojale from Boston,
Yeah,
number
he's a bench player.
37?
Yeah.
Yeah, he went to Milwaukee. We had him for like 4 years, so like we just liked him around the team, but he to say the least. But he was on his Twitch stream, and someone asked him like, "Would you like him on the team?" And he said it nicely though. He was like, "I don't know if he'd be a good fit."
Have you ever seen Blake Snell?
No,
A couple of years ago, I think he was still on the Rays, and they traded. I think I think they traded Hunter Renfro and a prospect, which is what's funny about this. And for was it Manuel Margot? I think it was some sort of trade like that.
I,
And he said on his
I
Twitch
think
stream, we
something.
traded Renfro and a slapdick prospect for I think it was Margot and I forget who else they got back, but it went viral because he called the guy a slapdick prospect without even knowing who he was, and or they got one back. I don't know, but it reminded me of that almost. And now Blake Snell's on the Padres, so it's kind of full circle. Um,
For real though.
uh, but back to Baker. In my opinion, I think the Panthers have talent. Their defense, while it didn't really live up to standards, even though they kind of played really well last year, like statistically, a lot of that I feel like has to do with I know Baker's not a superstar by any means, but I've seen Sam Darnold throw some questionable picks and some bad fumbles, and I also saw PJ Walker play and Cam Newton play at this point. Like when your offense can't score, your defense is going to look that much worse. And they have guys like they have Brian Burns, they have the rookie, what's his name, like from last year, J.C. Horn. I'm pretty sure they still have Shaq Thompson. Like they have these guys, they have guys that could play. And offensively, we all know Christian McCaffrey, DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, if you will.
You
Chuba
could
Hubbard's a
argue
pretty good player.
all these guys are good with Baker, and like he's a good fit for
Yeah,
all of
because
them.
he's a competent quarterback. I said it last week. What do you call it? Like at his worst when healthy, he's like a starter, like a solid starter, like at his worst. But
And he's got experience now too, which
yeah, like
helps.
I saw something today. It said like Cleveland Browns. I forget his name. He's pretty good with information, but I disagree. I think his name is Brad Steenbrook. He's very good with information with the Browns. But he said today like Baker didn't have like two mediocre. He had like two terrible years. I'm like, I'll give you 2019. That was rough. But last year, if you're gonna give Jarvis Landry a pass for years because he toughed out injuries, when the guy cracks his humerus bone, you got to give him the same thing. And then don't call him selfish for playing in this because even if he was being selfish, then the coach has got to step in. Then the GM's got to step in. But it is what it is. It's over with.
Yeah,
Now he's on the
and
Panthers, which I
really,
think, yeah,
it's a happy day for you. And as you know, not just
yeah. I
in this,
mean,
like injuries are the top ingredient to recency bias, and that was like a lot of this
Damian
situation.
Lillard, Zion, and
Kawhi,
I'm a victim of that. Kawhi, like it's a great example in baseball last year. Mike Trout, Fernando
yes,
Tatis. Everyone forgot who he is, or Fernando
Harper.
Tatis Jr.
No one forgets Harper, but Harper's got bouncing back really
Yeah,
well.
and yeah, it's just I know Baker isn't. He's not a number one overall pick. Josh Allen's better than him. I know. Lamar Jackson's better than him. I know. But he's at worst, like I said, when healthy, look at his career. He had one bad year in 2019. We just went 18 was good, 20 was good, and the other two he's been inconsistent to say the least. But now he's got a fresh start. This team is not as good as the Browns, the roster itself. But he has talent. He does have guys. Like McCaffrey is top elite just when he stays healthy. And like I said, they have DJ Moore, who's a very good receiver. So you have guys to throw to. You have options. Their offensive line's a little questionable, and their coach I'm not the biggest fan of. Although people give McAdoo, their offensive coordinator, like a lot of slack for the Giants team, like with Odell and the boat trip and whatnot. But was it the boat trip? I forget what year it was, but he
Yeah,
hit. Was that the boat
no,
trip? The McAdoo team?
I think it was him, right?
I think. I mean, if not, McAdoo ran a team with the Giants that was good. Their offense was good, but things just kind of fell apart. But like the offense was fine, so that wasn't the issue. And I think he's gonna run the offense with Carolina. So like
And
I don't know.
all these coaches in New York, like when they become an offensive or defensive coordinator, like Todd Bowles, for example, they all look like gods once they take a step down. Except Jason Garrett, I guess you could argue, even though he was in Dallas. But yeah, I see what you're saying. It's definitely a happy day for you. We've been waiting for this,
Yeah, it's
and the summer in sports has been great since the finals ended.
Ben McAdoo is the OC in Carolina. He had this to say about Baker Mayfield coming out of college. I didn't see a lot of pro style football in his college tape. McAdoo told the New York Post, if you're short, you have to be able to make up for it some way, somehow, and personality doesn't do that. I didn't think he was a great athlete. This guy is kind of like a pocket quarterback that is short and with small hands. That's what I worry about. Okay, that was 5 years ago now, 4 years ago, so it is what it is at this point. But
Yeah,
I just think it would have been a lot smoother sailing if Deshaun Watson did not have 20 something cases and the suspension like coming up. And, obviously it would have been easier if they just gave Baker an extension and he balled out last year and they made the playoffs, but things didn't happen that way, obviously. So it was bound to happen. It was just about when. And I'm happy he's in Carolina. I'd rather him there than Seattle because also I heard Colin Coward say whenever Tom Brady retires, which might be next year, he's probably the best quarterback in his division if he stays in Carolina because they got, okay, Jameis Winston, great guy, seems like a great, fun guy. He's okay. Who knows what's going on in Atlanta with Mariota? And then the Bucks have no idea what they're doing after Brady yet.
yeah,
So the most stable position would be Baker.
yeah, easily. And like you could argue, like I said, I've praised the Giants fit for a while now, but you could argue this is like the best spot for him. And I think like Cleveland fans are gonna give him a bit of applause when he does
He
make a
should.
comeback. Deserve,
Well, they're not going to be in Cleveland, so. But
yeah, next year or whatever.
yeah. Well, I saw fans saying like, "Oh, thank God we got the distraction out." I'm sorry, what? What?
I mean,
Distraction?
that's recency bias itself in a type.
Nothing says smooth sailing like court cases. But to pivot off that, because we brought it up before, just that my overall take on this is that it was bound to happen, and I'm just happy that it's over with now, and we can get ready for week 1, which I'll root for both, I guess. I'll root for the Browns, obviously, but I'm rooting for him to throw 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, a little 300-yard.
Yeah, but to pivot off this, I know you want to talk about basketball, but I saw something regarding the Red Sox. It was like, I forget who the analyst was. I think it was Will Middlebrooks, but don't quote me on that. They asked him, I think it was Will Middlebrooks. They asked him, would you take Rafael Devers or Aaron Judge over the next 5-6 years? He said Rafael Devers because he's younger and whatnot, and because he's guaranteed to play 140 games. Like, he can rest assured on that. I'm going to say this. Can we stop with the Aaron Judge being injury prone? He's been healthy for 2 years now.
This is tough to pivot off of, though, that's not the word, to go over, though, because, dude, I wouldn't say that, but, even though I would like to, but not just Will Middlebrooks. Yes, David Ortiz. Yes, Kevin Youkilis.
Oh,
yes,
no, I don't. If you want to take Devers just because of his talent, because Devers is, I think, the most underrated hitter in baseball. But
yeah,
I am sick of hearing about Aaron Judge when he stays healthy. I think he missed 15 games in the last 2 years combined. I just jinxed him. I feel bad now, but knock on wood, he's been healthy.
Don't feel bad. But
I'll never wish injury on anyone.
Obviously, anybody in Boston, though, would, just, especially with the year Devers is having, they'll take him over anybody in pinstripes, even if it was Babe Ruth, and he was still playing in today's game, it doesn't matter. Or say Mike Trout was on the Yankees, a Red Sox fan would maybe even take it that far. But we know Judge is that guy now. And all people have to fall back on is the strikeouts and the injuries. And people are getting restless waiting for him to get paid, I meant to say. People are waiting for that. And, this is the time of year. We play tomorrow, 4 games, big weekend. This is the time of year for Yankees and Red Sox, July, August. First time of the year in Fenway. And, we kind of hit a bit of a wall against the Rays, but we've definitely made some ground, had that great series in Toronto to end the month of June. It's kind of just been waiting for this one. Like we said, Sale's coming back, Evaldi's coming back. Pavetta and Waka are really just trying to hold it down as much as possible. Story.
I saw Waka's got dead arm.
Yeah, I think I did see that, actually. As you know, I've been caught up in this basketball news. But
yeah. Trevor Story this year has 14 homers, 54 RBIs, 224 average with an OPS of 724. So not the greatest, but he's slugging 427. That's good. Decent for his standards. 297 on base, a little low. But he's driven in 54 runs. He's playing a new position. So it's the, when you sign a big contract, you have that period of time where you're a little off, a la Lindor.
That's what I was just. Now, this is Lindor last year. This is the 220s, I'm just happy that we're playing overall better ball than how they're in the mix, and obviously adding this extra playoff team in the American League, this definitely helped. And then, it's really looking like at least the clouds may have opened up a little bit more on the optimism of Bogarts, even though it's still not looking that great. At this point, it's just tough to say because he is basically the Mookie Betts now after he left. But, a lot of fans would maybe rather Raphael if he could sign the extension than number 2.
If you had to pick one?
Based off recency bias. But
yeah, but that's a fair recency bias, though.
Yeah, and the pitching is their ceiling, really. Like, you know, they'll get these other guys to get big hits. Like, obviously, it hasn't been much this year, but Jackie Bradley has experience around that time of year. He had big ones for them in the Houston series in 2018. So, like, I've always been a big fan of him, and we know how great his glove is. And then, yeah, it's Jeter Downs came up. That guy Bello, whatever his name is, I saw is making his debut.
Yeah, Jeter Downs is kind of like,
Yeah, it's just like this is a great. I don't want to say a great team considering how they started, but like it's definitely turning into a fun year. At least it's just you got to take it one series at a time. They're turned it around very well, and Story has been a lot better, like I said. But it's you got to take it one at a time. You can't lose a series. They lost 2 out of 3 against the Cubs, right? I'm pretty sure. I saw.
Did they win a game? I'm being serious. Boston.
I really seem like a
they won the last game
fan.
4-2. They won the last game 4-2.
Forever. I was just saying, I see Gobert's getting introduced in Minnesota right now, looking tripped out. Transition into this or the Nets, but I can get the Celtic talk over with real quick if you'd like.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm going to have some thoughts on Brogdon too. So.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it a little before we started recording, and I wasn't very happy with your thoughts, considering this was a total exceeded expectation and how amazing Brad Stevens has been since last year, which is continuing to show more and more. But all right, so last time we did this, I listed you guys, the guys who we could afford under the mid-level exception, who we could afford with the Evan Fournier TPE that expires July 18th, which they still haven't spent that yet, for those wondering. But I saw that their main plan, before I get into it, was that now that they made these moves, that they're going to fill out small veteran contracts to fill out the bottom half of the roster. For a final move, I would have taken TJ Warren, but again, we'll get into the Nets and their thing. I think that's a good signing by them, and it could have been a nice gamble for another wing for us off the bench. But I listed you the TPE guys, and I was like, okay, if you want to swing for the fences and go for Beal, if Tatum wants it, if the organization wants it, yeah, it might have been a little gutted. Whether it might have been, we said maybe Al Horford, maybe Marcus Smart. Something big would have had to have been done. And we know that wasn't Jaylen Brown, no matter what it was. We know that was totally unreal, totally irrelevant. So my thoughts were like they're either going to do what they can to get Jason, his best friend. And if I was gassed up by the odds of him being the Celtics being a favorite to sign him besides Washington, even though we knew him staying was highly likely. But so that was it was like, if you guys want it, do it. All right. Like, we were 2 games away, but like, sure. And if Brad wants it, Beal, that is, and Brad Stevens, and if Tatum and the team, sure. So then if that didn't happen, I thought that we were going to get Knicks legend, Danilo Gallinari, which we did end up anyway. Get him after he got bought out, and then bring in TJ Warren or another wing to help the bench. But no, Richard, no, that's not what happened. Not at all. We didn't gut our team or any core member to get Bradley Beal. Well-ran change of marketing that we've seen with Brad Stevens, whether it's to cash in the chips, not like Danny Ainge, would do and save the draft picks. What am I saying? And save the picks. But as we've seen, Brad Stevens since last year, Kemba Walker for Horford will give you a first. Derek White for Josh Richardson and Langford will give you a first. This trade will give you a first. And that's what Brad has done, this change in marketing, this change in culture. And it's been beautiful because every time it would always be a rumor. And I've said to you back to my senior year of high school when we were rumored to get Paul George in 2017 before we drafted Tatum, like trade the pick. I mean, we made out like bandits, as we know. The job Ainge did. Like I said, he deserved the biggest ring of them all if we won it. But it's like Brad isn't afraid. And like I said to you when we did the last pod was like when the team is this close, they usually go into the luxury tax and pay the price here. They're now 30 plus million over the luxury tax when they were only 7. So now I believe it was Friday when I was off of work, day 2 into free agency, right? Beal stays home right away. Good for him, rightfully so. One of the biggest contracts in history. Tip the hat to him. You know, he deserves it. Hopefully he changes the culture there and he's started something special. Like he really – if whoever's watching this on video sees Rich give the face, I'm thinking the same. But, you know, I love the guy and his attitude, and he showed the loyalty that he truly displayed that he had. And, yeah, good for him. Hope the best. So, you know, I'm thinking, all right, we'll make small moves. Like I said, Gallinari, Warren. What happens? I watch Stranger Things. I go on a little binge finally. My phone's on Do Not Disturb. I go in my room. First of all, my dad comes home. There was like 10 minutes left to episode 7. I still didn't look at my phone. I went in my room. I was like, all right, you're watching it. We're on separate parts. I'll finish in my room. Turn it off. Do Not Disturb. Boom. Everyone texted me, good trade. ESPN notifications, Bleacher Report notifications. Aaron Nesmith, Daniel Tice, our favorite Celtic. I'm kidding. Daniel Tice, Jawan Morgan, Malik Fitz, and Nick Stauskas, and a 2023 first-rounder from Malcolm Brogdon. Why is this beautiful? Because, again, we did not expect this at all. He's a better fit than Bradley Beal, and we didn't have to give up any core members whatsoever. And what did we see that they needed? And what was their problem with those 2 games to win? Brad Stevens said in the exit presser, we need another playmaker to calm things down and a wing off the bench to take pressure off those 2, like I said to you last pod, so they don't have to play 40 minutes every postseason ball game. And Brad goes out right away, takes a guy who's been a point guard mostly his whole career, who can calm things down, who puts up major stats a lot, and he's all about winning. And he's a perfect Celtic when it comes to a team standpoint, when it comes to being a leader. And I don't know if it's vice president or president. I know there's somewhere on the board. Him, Grant Williams, Jaylen Brown, all part of that. And
the smartest player in the NBA.
yeah, and the nice.
No, like he's like,
isn't
he like legitimate? Like, didn't he like want to run for office or something like that?
Yeah, and like no one's ever said anything bad about him.
Instead, he's running plays for JT and JB.
Yeah, and I don't know if you saw his quotes from The Athletic or quotes in general, but he was like, "Man, this is what I wanted. Like I wanted to come to Boston to. Now it's time for me to deliver that championship that they were so close to getting. Like, it's time. Let's do this." Post that picture of him from when Indiana played in Boston last year with the no fans when the Celtics. It was very cool. Celtics nerd out real quick. Celtics and Warriors were the only teams with their banners in the background behind the basket. So he posted that behind him while he was dribbling on the parquet, and he was like 1 goal. And the place went nuts. And now him and Gallinari going to go nuts, or the fans are going to go nuts when they're introduced. To me, that was just a beautiful, beautiful fit for a guy who's a playmaker to calm things down. They said that they'll likely run their same starting 5 that got them here this year with Marcus Smart at the point, the double big lineup, Allen, Rob, and Malcolm as the 6th starter, basically. And then you can mix and match a lot. It's beautiful, like suitable parts who fit everywhere. You could go Malcolm and Marcus, Jay and Jay, and Rob. And then Al has the backup big off the bench. or you could just run the double bigs. Malcolm is the sixth starter. And then at the end of games, you could just mix and match that. Like Malcolm could be in instead of Al or Rob. Like we know Rob has his injury issues. That's my big key for the team is like Malcolm and Robert Williams have to be 100% all year, as you know. And yeah, at the end of game, say Marcus, I don't think they're going to turn the ball over like that again. But say Marcus is playing sloppy, you can either have Malcolm next to him or you could slot Malcolm in for him. And like I said, Rob being banged up or Al wanting more rest, as this is a year-by-year thing for him now, as you know, you could take out one of the bigs, make him the backup big. And then regardless, with the same starting five, look at that bench. Like, they're dirty. They're dirty. It's Brogdon. It's Derek White. It's Gallinari. It's Grant Williams. It's Peyton Pritchard. And if they bring in someone else, like say they bring in like a DeMarcus Cousins, like that'd be really cool, or someone like that. And this is just a beautiful, beautiful team. And now they have more experience. They're more ready. And these are the two fits that not only fit the team very well, but those are two players to help you get those 2 wins. Danilo Gallinari, a lot of people want to laugh at that. Like, yeah, first of all, look at the numbers, whoever wants to laugh at it. Very underrated. Probably better than people thought. That year in Oklahoma City in the bubble, he put up like 18 a game, 19 a game with Chris Paul. Last year, probably you could argue his worst year on Atlanta, but then he put up 16 points per game the past few years. He shoots close to 40% from three. So they haven't had a wing who could score with that. The only thing about him is like he's a little bit of a knock on day, but as you know, the Celtics with their defense can protect him, and he has size, and he can shoot. So like he's just and he grew up a Celtic fan when he was young. So like with the size and shooting, beautiful fit for the wing position off the bench. And yeah, maybe they could add one more piece. Like I said, like a Boogie Cousins or something like that. Their summer league starts Saturday. Not really anybody enticing besides J.D. Davison, the second-round pick that they got, or Sam Hauser, who will have a higher role on the bench with the cleaning of house that they just made until they sign other guys. And then who else? That's basically it. I think they had.
If your team's good, you don't got to worry about the summer league.
I mean, you know me. If I don't have a pointless Celtic game to watch, I don't know what to do with myself. So, but yeah, this was the. I tweeted it like when Brogdon tweeted that picture. I quoted it. This was the summer Boston fans dreamed of. Like we didn't think we would swing for a home run like that. He's a big time option. Now the team just got to stay healthy, and like the chemistry is going to be even better. I don't know the exact stat. You can find it on StatMuse, but just to talk up Brogdon a little bit. Him, Curry, I think Doncic and Harden are the only players to have a certain amount of games of like 25 and 5 plus. Yeah, so he was a 19-point per game scorer in recent seasons. Indiana hasn't seen it. That's the biggest thing. Like he is that type of talent, but it's about staying on the floor for him. That's why, I don't think it'll be easy to get back to the finals. And this isn't. If you knew me that year, like Kyrie and Gordon Hayward, I was like, we're winning it. Now, do I think this team is rightfully so the favorite by Vegas and FanDuel to be number one in championship odds? Yes, after these moves, I do. But I don't think it'll be easy to get back there with, Milwaukee, Philadelphia better. Miami will still be Miami. We'll see what happens with Brooklyn. But I do think the Celtics are, on paper, the best team in the NBA besides Golden State, easily. I mean, they already were, but, like, this was a beautiful 4th of July weekend for them, really.
Okay, so the point I'm going to make, and hear me out. For everyone listening, Rob's obviously a Boston Celtics fan. They were just 2 wins away from an NBA championship, and I swear he's more happy about Malcolm Brogdon.
Listen. Wait, real quick. Forgot to say this. Besides the turnovers, those 2 games was the problem. Their problem, like they played good defense on the Warriors, but their problem was they averaged 100 points a game in those final few games. Why? Because as you know, they had that game 1, then Derek White, then Peyton Pritchard, then Al Horford. Al Horford was good in game 6. You know what I mean? The whole second unit disappeared after game 1. So now you're just that much deeper, and one, you have guys that can help be more comfortable with the ball, even though like I said, I don't think the turnover it like that again. But that was their issue, was the points per game they scored and the turnovers. And Tatum, like we said, he had his one hiccup, and he'll be growing and growing. He's with LMA now on Twitter. I'm sure you've seen, and he's taking pics with your guy OBG. But continue. I'm sorry.
So my point with Malcolm Brogdon is, usually when fans say, like, oh, this move's going to take us over the top, it's usually a massive move, like for like Kevin Durant or Kawhi Leonard, Damian Lillard. But the Celtics didn't need a move that got them over the top. The Celtics were there. They were at the top. They just have to dethrone the Warriors now, for figurative terms. And I think Brogdon fits one, as much as Marcus Smart doesn't want to admit it. Malcolm Brogdon's probably a better point guard, truer point guard, better facilitator.
Sure,
we talked about his turnovers.
Sure,
yeah. So that plus Brogdon, you basically gave up. I know you're a big Daniel Tice guy, but you gave up. Let me be nice about this. You gave up like a bag of candy for him.
Bag of chips.
It was good chips, but like, no, it's just you didn't have to get a lot to get him, and the Pacers were making it very obvious that they were trading him. Same with Miles Turner, and this is really going to hurt his value because of But it's a good move. I think it's a necessary move to like just bolster your team without tearing down your entire roster, rather than getting a Bradley Beal when you don't need a volume scorer. You already have 2 of them. Just high volume for those guys like Brown and Tatum, and they're becoming better facilitators as they play. But I believe that Brogdon is going to be your starter. I think where the guys that get pushed to the bench are on the I think also Rob Williams hurt his knee. Who knows how he's going to be next year, like in the beginning of the year. So he might need rest days, and you can kind of platoon, for a baseball term, platoon him and Horford. Or, Brown needs a day. Tatum needs a day. Marcus Smart needs a day. Like, you're never going to have Rob's on the move. You're never going to have the, what do you call it? You're never going to have a healthy 5 the entire year. You know the NBA works, and the way load management works and all this stuff.
Yeah, and that's why I said that's the biggest. I'm not interrupting you, but that's Malcolm Brogdon just got to be 100%.
Yeah, I just think that some Celtics fans acted like you guys were like a 7 seed last year, and this move gets you there. Like, no, you're there. You just had to make a quality move. This move feels a lot like Drew Holiday to the Bucks. I mean, I think Drew Holiday is better than Malcolm Brogdon, but look at their skill sets. They both shoot the ball well. They play great defense. They're both long. I think Drew Holiday's probably a better defender. Malcolm Brogdon's probably more skilled offensively, like crafty. And Giannis is better than Tatum and Brown. But
I like that take.
But Giannis is better than Tatum. Brown's better than Middleton. Yeah. It's close, but yeah.
Close.
And then Drew Holiday and Malcolm Brogdon are very close. I don't know. I think Drew's probably better, and then Brogdon I have probably 15 at point guard. I can't. I'm not thinking off the top of my head. Well, let's do that.
Yeah, and
let's do that. So who do we got? We got Steph.
What? This is 15 off the top of the head. Might be a little tough, but if we use the internet.
Yeah, I'll try.
Wait, real.
Okay, go.
I like that point a lot. I really do. Because they are very similar players. You could say Holiday is the better defender, Brogdon is better offensively. And I didn't mean to sound a little harsh against you, too. I thought you were saying, like, you were hating on the fit and said, like, what's the need? But I like that point. You said Celtic fans overreact and acted like they needed something and went a
They
little
acted like
nuts
that they
instead.
weren't there without this move.
Yeah, and I agree. Like you're totally right about that, and I appreciate that. But I love it because that was, like I said, it exceeded expectations, and he's a perfect fit. And not only that, he got deeper, and like we said, they gave up a bag of chips. They didn't give up any core members. This was like exceeding expectations all around because we didn't think they would do this one. And yeah, like we said, we thought we needed just some role guys. And instead,
Yeah,
you got a perfect starter who could play like a star at times when he's on the
yeah,
court.
yeah.
But
I think so.
they
Let's
acted
try
like
this. What?
they kind of acted like Yankee fans in a way. That's like, oh, like we didn't do it, so like let's do like lose their minds and shit like that. Act like it's a
Yeah.
7 seed. I agree, and that's a good point.
By the way, Mets and Red Sox. I don't know why they collaborate, but anyway, so let's try this. Okay, so I got Steph off the top of my head. This is not any order. Steph, Trey, John Morant, Luca, uh, Dame. That's 5, right off the rip. Chris Paul, sure. Uh, who am I? Help me out. I'm forgetting somebody big.
Did you say Morant?
Yes,
I
Jamal
got you.
Murray.
We can't say that after he just missed the whole year.
Recency bias again. All right, so we got 6. Dejounte Murray.
All right. Yes.
Oh my God, Russell Westbrook.
Fred,
Who?
Fred Van Vliet.
It's close. Kyrie, Harden. I am forgetting.
Doncic.
I said Luca Garland. Oh my God, who am
All
I
right.
forgetting? I
I
got 10
have
off
it
the
pulled
rip.
up. All right. I'll help you out a little bit. I'm gonna do an order though. Steph,
Okay,
Doncic.
gotcha.
Did we? All right. Um, I guess I'll go Morant, then Trey. That's 4.
You're ranking these, or you're just like saying them in order?
This is actually really hard.
I'm just trying to find guys better than Brogdon.
All right, Steph, Doncic, Dame. We'll say that's 3.
Okay,
Uh, Morant, Trey.
okay.
That's 5. 6 will go. You want to go like Kyrie. Then no, 6 will go Chris Paul. 7 will go Kyrie.
LaMelo,
8 will go LaMelo. 8 will go Shai Gilgeous. We're forgetting too. Garland,
Garland, Giddy,
Murray.
Jamal Murray, or
I put
Dejounte
him in
Murray.
15. I'm not. This kid's a baby. I'll say
Yeah,
he's a little outside 10 or not there.
you think Brogdon's better than Jalen Brunson?
It's a very good question. Now I would say no. I would say no now.
Okay. Is he paid better?
He's actually making 22 himself. That's why we didn't use the TPE on Brock.
Yeah.
We just
So
went
yeah.
back and we'll use the TPE for the rest of veterans. But to end the point,
Yeah, just he's a top 15, top 16 point guard. That was kind of like what I was trying to get at this.
yeah, I will say 12, 15 because I don't think he's better than.
I'm forgetting someone massive, and I can't figure it. Russell Westbrook? No. Um,
We didn't say him. I think he's still in the top 10 or
yeah.
12.
New Orleans.
Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart might be 15.
Who's the Pelicans point guard?
So
Who's the Pelicans point guard?
I don't even know. I think we went over this too. It's going to be McCollum or Alvarado, but like I feel like I'm forgetting big time. And they had Devontae Graham too.
Yeah, but he was a backup.
But to breeze through it, I guess we'll say Doncic, no. Trent, no. Morant, no. Curry, no. LaMelo, no. Dame, no. Shai, Cade, Darius, DeJounte, Tyrese Maxey,
Herb Jones started in the playoffs, but I don't know if he's a point. He's a forward, right? He's a forward. Yeah, Maxi, you're pushing it a little bit. Um, uh,
Top 15 right out. I'd say 12 to 15. Agree with that.
okay.
and
So-
Marcus is right outside.
So
Like he's like 15.
yeah. We talked about segues. We talked about Jalen Brunson. Let's segue to Jalen Brunson. I love what you said we were going to talk about this and then the Knicks and Celtics, but we'll, for any fan, this bothers me so much. Any fan that said that they overpaid for Jalen Brunson, he's what, the 16th highest paid point guard, like 15th. I don't know the exact number. If they didn't sign him, you would be like, oh, they failed again. They didn't get their guy. And I don't care that they tampered, to be honest, because everyone tampers in the NBA. Let's be honest. Like, you think Kevin Durant wasn't talking to this? Like, you think Kevin Durant's not talking to teams beforehand? You think Kyrie Irving didn't talk to the Lakers before he opted in? Like, you think this stuff doesn't happen? Like, it happens all the time in the NBA.
Dude, that's a good example too. I mean, Draymond admitted it on
Yeah.
this podcast we've seen of him. It's like we knew right away we had that meeting with Kevin, and we were already like hitting him up and stuff. And yeah, I mean, it's very different when a family member's in the organization and you know what the expectation is. But continue.
Yeah, and I think it's a good move for the Knicks. One, we have a point guard for the first time in, I think, my lifetime, besides, Raymond Felton, that guy.
Right.
We have a point guard. And
You're right.
I wanted DeJounte Murray, which we'll probably get into next. But I wanted DeJounte Murray, but I'm cool with not getting him after they gave up 3 unprotected first-round picks for him. For a guy that's not even going to bring the ball up.
Yeah, I mean, I would play Trey off the ball. Is my thing.
I would
That's
too,
the
but they're not
question,
going to.
You got to just have fun with it and just say like either or do.
Yeah.
But Murray's not an outside shooter, as we know.
Mm.
Trey is, so you could just DeJounte into really just Draymond of the team, and they have assets to trade. They really do, Atlanta.
But back to Brunson. Look at this lineup now. Excuse me. You go Brunson, Fournier, Barrett, Fournier, however you want to do it. Barrett, Fournier. Right now you have Randall, and you just re-signed Mitchell Robinson. If you trade Randall, good shot. You might be getting a guy from Utah back, maybe, hopefully. If not, you get picks or young players. You start topping. You also have Manuel quickly.
I think you're too late on the player from Utah back.
Yeah, but you also got Emmanuel quickly. You also have Derrick Rose. People forget about Derrick Rose. You traded Burks, Kemba. Yes, Kemba. Burks, Kemba, and Noel. You got rid of those cap hits. You got guys like Grimes. You got Cam Reddish. So they have players. Do they have an elite star? Probably not, because I don't think RJ Barrett's ever going to turn into a top 10 player. I think he's going to be a very nice player. I like I said last time, I think his ceiling is Jaylen Brown. Is Jaylen Brown the best player in his team? No. So, there is good. I think they have a pretty good squad. But I think they have a pretty good squad. The Knicks.
Oh yeah, I mean,
I didn't say they're going to win the finals.
About the Brown comparison, I was about to say.
I think Barrett's ceiling is Jaylen Brown.
Ceiling, like I've heard you say it. Well, you said it, and I've heard it before. Like, it doesn't have to be that. Like, he could be his own player, and like he's a little too young to say that. But like, he could be a 1. Like, it's early to say he can't. Like, going forward, and the more he grows, but no, yeah, definitely a much better team, and definitely trending in the right direction. It's just the front office is under a lot of pressure. That's like, what were you going to say?
No, so they also have a ton of picks now, a ton of cap space though, because they didn't use all of it on Brunson. If they do sign Barrett, then I think there's even a better shot that they trade, they trade Fournier with the exception, or I don't know. There's some weird thing that can happen that was supposed to happen with the Mavs, but it didn't. And also, if they trade Randall, you're dropping 20-something million, 24 million, I think it is, of his contract. But that's all if this stuff happens. So, the offseason's not over yet.
they're under Leon Rose and them are under a lot of pressure because of how the past couple of years have been. And we saw it last season, for example, where there's a mediocre market of free agents, except good MLE guys and good low tier young guys and stuff like that. And they know they have to improve and they have to spend. So they had that year with Randall, and they were like, all right, we got millions of cap space. There's no Kevin Durant on the market. We're not. They didn't even meet with Kawhi that year, and obviously that was the last all right, this is ridiculous type of thing. And now Leon Rose and the rest of the brass feels the pressure, and they're like, okay, let's give Evan Fournier $19 million a year or 17, whatever he had in the beginning. I mean, it looked like what we know that was a little paid.
Yeah.
But it looked like he was a good fit along with Kemba.
Mm-hmm.
Because what did they need was guard play. They had Barrett and Randall and Nerlens Noel and Alec Burks and some guys playing.
Yeah.
Derek Rose. Derek Rose. Derek Rose, some guys playing over their head. And these were kind of like the missing keys, it looked like. You had going into you're arguably the best coach in the league, but then you bring in a backcourt like that brought scoring and that could take it to the rim off the dribble, I meant to say.
Yeah.
And that could score from the perimeter. And yeah, it's just what happened was that they were unplayable late in games because they were terrible on defense and they weren't that on offense like we saw. But it's all going to take baby steps, and this is where we had it this year, except obviously Jalen Brunson is a much better idea with the playoffs he just had, the improvement we've seen, and the growth.
Without Luka on the court, too.
Yeah, and the series he had against Utah, has a point guard. And like we said last pod, this is a crazy loss for or a big loss at least for Dallas. I mean, you got Wood. They're a better team. Dinwiddie's going to have to take on a bigger role.
They're more balanced out now, I think, with Christian Wood.
Yeah, and that you've heard me. I think it's a beautiful fit, but that's a big loss for a co-star of Luka, and it's just he's a young superstar basically, like we saw in the postseason. And like you said, the Knicks finally have a point guard, and that was the biggest thing in all this. And we knew it was happening a month ago when we saw his dad was hired as an assistant. There wasn't a doubt in anyone's mind. And you wanted to bring up the tampering stuff, we saw how there was reports of that, which is actually laughable. I know you agree with me on it. It's like we said with the Durant stuff just before. And dude, yeah, like I said, you got a relative in the organization. It's completely different. And the salary wasn't that much of a difference in contracts, but that could have been the Mavericks and Cubans perspective was we're not giving you that, so we don't have to take the meeting. Take it with your dad and take it with New York.
Yeah.
And to me, that's basically what happened, and I don't think the tampering should be that thought about. We kind of knew it was happening. And yeah, they're a much better team. Definitely something to be excited about.
Yeah. Like I said, I just think they're not done. I don't know what their next move is. Do I think they're getting Donovan Mitchell? No. I don't think he's getting traded at all because they want to build around him now. And they have assets now. They got some picks. They got some young players. They got some guys. So we'll see what they do. But we can move on, I guess, to that Gobert trade. I don't know what their process was but they didn't give up. They gave up a lot of role players, which I saw people making some weird comparisons with. But Patrick Beverley, there's a lot of him in the league. There's a lot of defensive point guards. There's a lot of Vanderbilts. There's a lot of those guys, and I understand you want to keep culture, and you can't keep everybody. But now, if you look at the starting five now, it's D'Lo, Edwards. Does Malik Beasley start?
He's in the trade.
Oh, he was in the trade? No, he wasn't. Was he? Malik Beasley. Why did I?
Hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. It still says he's on the
He
Timberwolves.
was in the deal. So.
He was in the deal?
Nah, he was in the
Oh,
deal.
yeah, he was in the
think.
deal. You're right.
He's an expo.
He was in the deal. Okay, so you have
But,
Edwards and D'Lo, and then you have Gobert and
real
Towns. And I don't know what the fifth guy is.
Yeah, and like real quick about the next two that I wanted to point out was like now you got someone who's been in conference finals too. Now you got someone
Yeah.
with experience, even though he's only a kid. So that's a good thing. So keep the head up there, like good summer.
Yeah.
But yeah, so comparing the Gobert stuff to this, am I lagging?
No.
I see it's yellow, but comparing the Gobert stuff to this Durant stuff, first of all, back to the Celtics, that it was the best 48 hours ever because no one expected at 2-3 o'clock Durant to request a trade from Brooklyn, and then the next day Brad Stevens makes another move like this, and yeah, no one expected it was. So for me, it was an amazing 24 to 48 hours, and yeah, no one expected either thing, and the world dropped. As you know, like we'll see the Kyrie Irvings of the world request trades. We won't see LeBron's, Durant's, or Giannis's. And I've heard a lot of perspectives, like, you know, my guys Bill Simmons and how many times I quote him on this pod, and the world knows it at this point. But, you know, the way to do things now, it's not to like, oh, like to build the way the Nets did, of course, as you know. It's more so the Curry, like, and the Giannis, like, get me whatever you guys think, and I'm chilling. I'll be the best leader ever and have that winning culture. And that's what Bradley Beal probably wants to do if we really think about it, like we said.
Yeah.
But it kind of – comparing the Rudy Gobert deal to the Durant deal, it kind of messed up the market because now, as you know, like everyone's saying, they're going to be expecting the Nets to get about 7 to 10 picks. And – after this Rudy deal. 15, look, they still have his press conference on. They're showing his play. 15, 13, 3 offensive boards, 68.5% from the field. Yeah, he's great, and he's one of the best defensive players in the league, best big man, but he's not getting better.
Yeah.
You know, like I said to you on the phone before, he's really not getting better. And, okay, yeah, you could give up those players we named, Malik, Balmaro, or whatever his name is, Beverly, and Vanderbilt. Although I do like Vanderbilt. I don't think they should have traded him, but like you gave up 5 first-rounders. And, you know, I'll quote Bill again and a point he made. We see with Jason Tatum how as a number 1 option, this takes time, like to be a go-to player and to get to the finals and to make those playoff runs. And Edwards is only, 20, 21? So these are his best years, yeah, but you need to get to that mid-20 mark to believe in, like, he can take your team there in the first place. If it works this way and they make the conference finals next year, which everyone doubts, he has to be the next Michael Jordan for that to happen.
Yeah, like that. Also, unless Edwards takes a jump.
Yeah, and another jump, really. And it's like, I said this to you on the phone before, like, yeah, you have your big 3, although Cat kind of showed he flamed out. We don't know if he could be a number 1, which correlates with –
but he doesn't have to be.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of correlates with, like, Edwards being too young, in my point, and them not having a team around their core. You still got Russell, even though there's no value for him. No one wants him, honestly. Like,
my brother says he's still loading. He's deloading.
I was going to say to you, we should have him on the pod soon. I thought of that at work the other day.
Yeah,
but
I just got to work on his work schedule. He's got a busy work schedule.
Yeah, but I like that one. So, yeah, you have those two. You got McCullough and the other guy who did you say that I laughed at that they still have on the second unit?
Oh, they got McLaughlin, and they got Naz Reid.
McCullough, I called him. I meant McLaughlin.
Yeah, McLaughlin, Naz Reid.
Yeah.
That I don't know. I don't follow too much Timberwolves basketball, to be honest with you.
And
I
you're
just know
gonna
this
be
trade.
yeah, and like you're gonna be they're really good now. They're a contender, I guess, but like and it was like, all right, yeah, it's like a new owner that's like, all right, get Gobert, do what you got to do. Like that's, that puts us on the map. But like, dude, I mean, it fits next to Cat and Edwards, but it's like you got nothing outside of that, and like you're dependent. Like I just said, you're depending on Ant Edwards growing quickly. Like
Yeah.
Gobert isn't getting better. Cat's probably getting better, and we talked about his perimeter game and shooting before, but it's just it's a lot. I can see why people don't like it. I really can, and especially when it messes up the market for this Durant stuff that we can get into now if you want.
Yeah, for sure. Well, yeah. What?
Like I was gonna say from a Utah standpoint, the Windhurst meme that I brought up, speaking of Richie's doing it again. Speaking of Mitchell and his value,
I don't think he's getting traded.
Yeah, and the fact that they shut stuff down for them. Windhurst brought this up in that video. He said, now, when he was like, why would the Jazz do that? Exactly.
Oh,
why would they?
This is news. 53 minutes ago, Bradley Beal's 5-year, $251 million contract signed has a no-trade clause.
I saw that on the Bleacher Report when I quickly looked at my phone. But yeah, he's the man. Like, good for him. But
got a lot of money.
For real, man. And overpaid. But so
I gotta teach my kid how to shoot basketballs.
So like this with Donovan, that's what Brian Windhurst said. He was like, when he said, why would the Jazz do that? And he predicted, like we said in the beginning of the pod, he predicted the trade. And he said, he talks about Danny Ainge since he's their chairman and GM now and making their moves. He was like, who was the last coach? Like they gave Will Hardy, Utah, like a 5-year deal to be their newest head coach. And he was like, rookie new head coaches don't usually get that. Who was the last coach Danny Ainge hired? Brad Stevens.
And he went through all like the, like all the moves that happened that were correlating with Utah.
Yeah, and you don't see a rookie coach get a 6-year deal like Brad did. And he was like, now when he was like, why would Quinn Snyder leave and why would Ainge do that? And he was like, what else happened that year when the Ainge hired Brad Stevens? He was like, he traded Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce. And he's like, there could be a fire sale in Utah. And then a couple of days later, we see they're shutting down deals for Donovan. And then it brought me to my own mind. And I'm like, this kind of reminds me of the 1 year we missed the playoffs in 2013. The very next year after we made that Nets blockbuster. And Rondo was still on the team. Yeah. And we looked at Rondo as the guy to build around. So maybe not to compare him to Donovan Mitchell, and even, we know 2012 Rondo is different, but not to compare the two, but it's probably what Ainge is looking at it as. It's like, dude, you're our one. Like we never wanted you to go in the first place. It's just the tension between you and Rudy, the whole coronavirus thing, and then obviously his love for New York City and love for the New York Mets and love playing at Madison Square Garden. And yeah, so it kind of just makes sense. Even though obviously we all want to see Donovan go, whether it's New York, rather it's Miami. But
so
not to cut you off, we can get into
no, you're good. So for Durant, I mean, I don't really like the Suns. You're gonna strip your entire team to get him, and then you have him, Booker. Think about it. I broke it down. The Nets. When Durant, like when they had their big three, aging point guard, Suns, aging point guard, Durant. The only difference is Kyrie and Devin Booker. Devin Booker plays like every game, but skill wise, like are they all of a sudden big contenders? They got blown out by Luka, and and apparently a bad point guard because the Knicks signed him. But if the Raptors signed him or someone else, he'd be considered a top 5 player ever. But whatever. Anyway, I just don't. I don't know like who's gonna give up. It's Kevin Durant, but what he wants, which is to play with the All Stars, you're gonna have to give up to get him. Which is why I don't know who. I think I keep bringing up New Orleans. I like Brandon Ingram a lot. You can give him up. You have a lot of picks. You can give up a guy like Jackson Hayes. I saw Nick Wright said Jackson Hayes, or a guy like Herb Jones, or someone. Then all of a sudden you have Zion, Durant, and McCollum. Like that's a. Or if he wants to really make things right, how about the Oklahoma City Thunder? They have a gazillion first round picks. Send them 7 firsts. Give them Giddy or Chet.
I don't even think they would do it for a 35-year-old Durant. And
that's my point, though. Like, who? You'd think his market's big, but his teams are so afraid now to just strip their entire team for him, not because of his talent, but because like this Nets thing fell through. What if it falls through again and you lose all your first round picks and don't win anything, just like the Nets did? Even though they signed him, then they trade Harden. They trade for Harden, then they get rid of him. Kyrie signs. This is all blowing up still. And the Nets can remake their team by trading Kyrie and KD and reestablish their culture. Think about it. KD's going to command how many first-round picks and how many All-Stars? Kyrie's not going to cost as much because he doesn't play.
And no one's even interested in the guy.
But think about it. If he wants to go to Miami, you're getting Bam and Harrell back. And picks. Then you trade Kyrie to the Lakers. If you want to get Westbrook back, go ahead. Then you have Westbrook in New York, which could get a little ugly. But you have Westbrook, you have Harrell, you have Bam. Then you have guys like Royce O'Neal, you have Joe Harris, Nick Claxton just signed. I'm just reading their roster now at this point.
TJ Warren.
Jury's still out. It's been a couple of years since he's even played, so he's kind of turning into Victor Oladipo. But you have all of these guys. You could change your entire roster. Oh, I forgot about Ben Simmons. Which could not have happened to a greater guy. But anyway, but when he plays, like he has value in like what he does. It's just he gets a little too timid. We all know that. So I just think if the Nets are smart,
that's all. We literally just want to see the guy play at this point.
Just play. Like, yeah, I mean if he's not healthy, I get it. But it just feels like it's always something, and the injury never comes out until afterwards.
And the amount of like talk me and you have had about the Nets for the past 8 months.
Yeah, like that. No one trusts them.
Yeah, and dating back to Kyrie Irving, like I was explaining to Maggie the whole story about Kyrie and dating back to Boston and Cleveland the other night. But yeah, man, I mean to your point. The Nets. So it's just like, first of all, what have I and both of us been saying throughout this whole year when we've been talking about him? Who was the first domino through all of this?
James Harden.
Who caused him to leave? Who caused him to leave because of his decisions in the fall?
Was it Kyrie or was it KD?
Just trying to refresh your memory without saying it. That's all.
No, because I know it's Kyrie, but
yeah.
Are we sure, or was that made public because the media hates Kyrie Irving? You don't know.
Yeah, and like it's tough, but like I said to you before, and like we said throughout the whole year on this podcast, you can label other things, right? You can label Durant's injury, you can label the shitty culture and the mediocre team they had besides the stars, shitty Steve Nash as a coach, and you could pinpoint a couple different things. But Nick Friedel said it the evening of free agency and when Kevin Durant made that trade and they had those hours of specials on ESPN. Who was the first domino to fall and cause this drama for everybody? It was Kyrie Irving not wanting to get vaccinated. And the Nets fans want to say the mandate, no. Well, dude, who decided to do that with them, with their own body, with their own self?
And to backtrack on what you're saying, he has every right, not getting political here, but he's every right to not get the vaccine. But we all know if it wasn't that, it would have been something else. It would have been his cousin's birthday, which I literally said sarcastically and ended up being right about.
Yeah.
Like we all know, like not politically, like he didn't get the vaccine. That's his choice. I think it was weird how he was able to be in the stadium and not, but whatever. It's your choice.
Don't worry about the politics of it too. Say it
No,
how
no, no,
he
no.
should have
But
gotten it. He's a professional athlete. He should have got it.
Yeah, but if he doesn't want to get it, so be it. But anyway, I'm not going there.
If I'm getting paid 36 million a year, I'm getting it. And
okay, but that's your opinion. Okay, I'm not turning into Fox News.
That's the thing about Kai, though, is like you're not changing his mind, and that's why he's a mediocre leader, and why he's talked about.
You're being nice when you say mediocre leader.
Yeah, the Kanye Irving.
Ooh, that's cool.
Of basketball. I love Kanye West, but it's, dude, like he doesn't want to be told what to do or like told when to go to work or want to work. He wants to do it on his own terms, like the cousin's party, like you said, like not wanting to get vaccinated, and being a mediocre leader.
So, like I said, something like getting vaccinated is different. But like I said, if it wasn't that, if he was vaccinated and able to play, or there was no mandate and he was able to play, he would find another reason not to play. Let's be honest. Like he would say he needs time off for whatever reason, or he needs to go to this party, or he's got a shoe event, or it's always something. And like I said, the value you're gonna get back from him is not gonna be as big because of that. But put this out there. I know the Lakers are in love with this guy, even though he's decent. I think he's got upside, but he's decent. What if they get Westbrook back to swap for the contract reasoning? And what if they get THT back? You get those two guys. Then all of a sudden, from KD, if you get it with the Heat, you get Harrow and Bam. If you go with the Pelicans, you get Ingram and a bunch of other role players like anyone. Or say if Phoenix, you're getting Cam Johnson, Mikal Bridges, probably a sign and trade with DeAndre Ayton. You can make your team like a legitimate top 5 seed and get rid of all of your distractions.
Listen,
you wouldn't have a star.
I mean, you could though. That's why they're not like they're gonna hold off until they get that star or until they get 2 all-stars.
But the problem, but you're getting Bam, you're getting Harrow, or you're getting Bridges, you're getting Cam Johnson, you're getting DeAndre Ayton, who I'm not a big fan of, but he's a good player and you could do a lot worse. You're getting all these guys, or hate to bring them up, the Boston Celtics. You would get Jaylen Brown back. Is it going to happen? No. I'm just naming teams now.
Yeah, this is my perspective, right? So they're not going to do it with the Heat because, like, if it's Butler or no. You're not going to do it with Boston, even though those 2 teams checking in. It's Brown or no. You're not doing it with.
Did you see Golden State's like the Golden State, like what the package would be? Like you could make your team like.
I said this to Nick. I like the Warriors package.
No, but they're not going to do that. They just won.
The Nets, Poole and Wiggins, but like you can get better than that because like. He just wants to go back and realize the decision he made, and they would love to have him back, obviously. And, of course, it's going to be a rumor. I wasn't surprised about it. My dad's, for the past 4 days, is bringing it up to me, and we're laughing about it. But all right, so Miami, Boston, no, because you're not getting those 2 centerpieces, those 2 all-stars.
But Miami, you might be able to get Harrow, Bam. Like, they have other pieces, Miami. Boston, besides Tatum and Brown, don't really have a guy you can give up to the it's weird. You're not gonna get rightfully so the Nets asked for Devin Booker, which I would have started with, but you're not gonna get that just because the Suns aren't gonna do that. So you need those second tier guys that are all stars. Like they're not starting all stars, but they're bench all stars. You need 2 or 3 of those guys in return. The problem is Kevin Durant wants to play with 2 all stars, even though I don't know why they're honoring what he wants. And before you go on, I know I'm cutting you off.
No, you're good.
Kevin Durant gets signed with the Nets. He was hurt. You can't control that. Rehab for an entire year. They fired their coach for him, who I think is very good coach in Kenny Atkinson. Fire their coach. Why are you shaking your head?
because you're exactly right, and it's
Oh,
ridiculous.
I was saying they fired your coach. They made this move. They got Harden. They got this guy. They got that guy. They did all of this just for you to request a trade. The second Kyrie Irving opted in.
I
Like,
mean,
what are
dude,
you
like,
why? His legacy is shot. LeBron
shot.
James has LeBron James has honored every one of his contracts. Do you like the fact that he made super teams? So be it. I mean, Golden State, they drafted. That was a great job by who I don't even know who their owner is, but he's great job.
Yeah,
LeBron, like Kawhi and PG teaming up. No one's got a problem with it because they're not asking out anywhere. Paul George got traded because he was on a rebuilding team with Chris Paul and OKC. Look, Kawhi won a championship and then just left in free agency. And it hasn't worked out yet, although John Wall signing, good signing. I'm sick of watching Bobcat highlights, though. Let's see some modern-day things happen. So it just aggravates me that do not anoint this guy because he's done nothing for your organization but cause headaches or be surrounded by headaches. I'm screaming.
and so like Shannon Sharp said, he's a runner and he's a track star.
Oh, that was so bad.
So, and like you said, they this organization mediocre. They did everything for these two, and led by Kyrie Irving because of his decision making, putting himself in first. He caused James Harden to be like, "Oh, I didn't know what I was getting into. I'm leaving." And my theory behind it, Richard, what's my theory? Forget about Perk saying, "Oh, I think it's for leverage."
Because he lost leverage the moment Kyrie opted in.
Yeah, he's like, I think it's for leverage to help Kyrie Irving, and because it's tough for Durant to do this with 4 years left. And dude, screw that. Like, no, I'm done with these theories and then like doing this. Like, no, yeah, I think he's had enough. It's not for leverage, and it's not for like, oh yeah, like, he's still supporting Kai. I don't think so because.
But they want to play together, right? Like, do they realize that? Like, imagine. I know it's different. It's the NBA. Imagine we're at jobs and we're just like, I want to leave and go to that job, and your job's like, no, you can't. And then they're like, you know what? I want to work with him somewhere else. I get it. They make a lot more money than we do, and they make more than their bosses, like GMs and stuff. But it's just like the NBA has gotten to such a point where it's literally like they're trading on 2K.
Well, that's the thing, though, is like, if I was with my best friend doing this job, like using your example, like, and I was actually going to use these human relations too. When you're trying to achieve an ultimate goal with a best friend or not, and you have their back through the media, through publicity, through everything in the world, and you stand by their side and cover up for them, there gets to be a point where it's like enough.
Like,
and
you gotta pull up your end too.
That's why I think that this whole leverage thing and like it being fake and like
what's the leverage? He's Kevin Durant. That's his leverage.
Yeah, like the whole thing about it being too quiet from the weekend. Like, no, like this is a real thing. Like everyone's saying it's not real. It is real. It's not. You're not hearing anything over the weekend because this is going to take a while, and it's the best player in the world. And this is my theory, right? One of the best players in the world.
Yeah, okay, pipe down. Giannis Antetokounmpo, the loyal player, the loyalty that he has shown. He's such a wholesome man.
You're right.
You hear no problems with Milwaukee.
Hey, listen, not to change the subject too, but he
okay.
is not better than Steph on our all-time list after this. And I know I said this last
every day that Steph Curry can literally, if he took like something that made him sleep for a week straight, get his rest back. If he laid in bed for a week straight with his lovely family and watched Netflix, his legacy is getting better just because of everyone else's actions.
Dude, literally. And you could say that for a lot of other loyal guys. And it's just, my thing is, you know, KD had his back this entire time. And we saw Shams and all the others with the report of Kyrie maybe eyeball emoji season a couple weeks ago when it was like before the draft.
Bleacher Report loves those the eyeballs.
A couple days before the draft, and it's like Kyrie's looking at
maybe he'll opt out and sign with someone else, or it might be a sign and trade. Like they could use a better partner for KD. And then it's like, oh, KD's monitoring the situation. He sees what's going on, and like he sees what's happening around the league. And then you know what it was, Rich? That's my theory. He saw the rumor of Kyrie while the report came out, said he was monitoring like his situation like he saw the Lakers stuff, and he was like, you know what? Nah, bro, I'm done. I had your ass through the vaccine, through missing time, through avoiding the media, through being a mediocre leader, for
Stepping
wanting
on
to
a
work on
logo.
your for wanting to work on your own time. Like, I've had your ass through all of this, and now you're going to do this and not give a shit? Nah, I'm done with you being my partner. This is terrible. And, or my Robin, this is terrible. And I'm done with this mediocre organization. Find a new home for me. I don't care
But
if I have 4 years
you
left.
knew this going into it, though. And I say it all the time. Kyrie Irving, he said it takes courage in this world to be different. Yeah, it took a lot of courage to opt into $47 million. It took a lot of courage to do that. But he's the type of guy, he would have opted out no matter what the money is. Like that doesn't sway his opinions, his own brain and
Nothing does.
whatever goes on up there, because he's
Nothing.
he's out there. But it's just like Kevin Durant lost his leverage as soon as Kyrie opted in, if the leverage meaning getting Kyrie to stay. But if KD, you knew this going in, the Nets make the Knicks look like a well-run organization. Remember the team with Karis LeVert, Jared Allen, D'Lo?
They've always been New York's team. We've known this. They've always been New York's team. The numbers don't lie.
I have a hot take.
He could have said that.
I have a hot take. Pablo Prigioni, that's a little funny. Jeremy Lin brought more excitement to New York than Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. Everyone wants to bash Carmelo Anthony. He honored his contract, was a 2 seed in the playoffs against a tough Pacers team, didn't get swept, and he was a loyal Knick. He was there through Stoudemire. He was there when the times were bad, times were good. Not once did a trade request come up. They traded him because they were moving on, and Melo said it was mutual. Like, he wants to win. He's getting older. That's the proper way to do it. Not when you have 4 years left on a massive contract that you just signed and handpicked your roster and staff. You wanted to play with Kyrie.
They didn't even get rid of Nash right away when they knew it was the top move to make, because he's Katie's boy. And
you wanted to play with this guy, and now all of a sudden you can't.
I like the hot take. It's just it's tough because he was only on that run for about a week or 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's a joke, but but with Carmelo Anthony, were there any headaches?
No.
The only thing that went wrong was that the Knicks, Phil Jackson was just a terrible GM for the Knicks, but there was no none of this requesting trades, none of this stuff. And I understand that's the way the NBA is nowadays, but it has never led to winning until he was with Steph Curry, Steve Kerr, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, all those guys. Until he was in really the best organization in the NBA right now. They're the modern day Spurs, the Warriors, with Duncan, Parker, and Ginobili, and I'm forgetting a guy.
They're the second best team ever, like I said.
Yeah, we were saying that. Unless you have them, you've proven you can't win.
Yeah, and it's the loyalty and the foundation, like you see with the Celtics.
Are we agreeing? I don't even know if I'm agreeing with you. I know, because do you think KD should request a trade, or do you think he's right for doing it?
I don't want to say I think he's right, but I think he should do it.
It's like a yes and no situation.
Yeah, and you're getting at just then, it's the Celtics, it's the Bucks, it's the Warriors. You start with a foundation. And one last thing about it is back to the destinations. There's Boston, Miami, not real. I like New Orleans. I like that idea, even though I don't think it happens. It's lovable because of how elite they're going to be and how underrated they're going to be, if they can stay healthy. But Phoenix and Toronto.
I heard Toronto. I'm not going to bring up what Chris Broussard said. I'm not getting into that.
I did see what he said.
I'm not getting into that.
Saw that.
Do your research, bud.
Real quick.
But go on.
Yeah, real quick. our boy Cowherd made this point yesterday, and I
Yeah.
couldn't agree more. Every time the Suns go up in a matchup, or anytime you compare them to the best other teams in the NBA, they don't have the best player. Celtics, no. Warriors, no. Bucks, no. Dallas. Now Minnesota, obviously, is on the rise. Clippers,
Memphis.
no. Nuggets, no. Memphis, no. Sixers, no. Nets, as of right now. But, dude, so they pointed him and not Joy Taylor, the other girl, Alex Curry pointed out.
Yeah, she was on vacation, I think, Joe Taylor.
Yeah, I did see her post. Chris Paul. Chris Paul is he's that piece to the team, but you don't like he's not franchise altering. He does give it the next step, like we saw these past 2 years, but he doesn't win you a title with.
And he's getting older.
Yeah, and he doesn't win you the championship, and it's just like he is the leader, but he doesn't, get you to the promised land. But if you have Durant, you will have the best player in every series and every matchup compared to those two or all those ball clubs and juggernauts. And
But we said that with Nets Celtics, and who was the best player in the series? It wasn't Kevin Durant. Like, this is my point. Unless he was with Golden State, he wasn't the best. Like, think about it. Giannis was better than him in the Bucks Nets series. I know Kyrie got hurt, but Giannis was better than him.
yeah,
Jason Tatum was better than him.
it's just
Not all time, but like in that series.
all-time defense you ran into, I guess, and the Nets were a shitty.
You're an
spot.
all-time scorer. It shouldn't matter.
I agree. I totally agree. But I'm open to the Booker KD swap, and then if you're
The Suns won't do that.
If you're Toronto, first of all, I rave about them as an organization, the coach, Masai. But it's like you move, say, Anunoby and Fred, or Anunoby and Scott, and like a big package with a lot of picks. You could do that.
If I'm the Nets, the first guy I'm asking for is Scotty Barnes.
Exactly. You might break the glass and backboard with Barnes and Simmons, but that'd still be dope.
No, but I'm asking for Barnes. I mean, I think Anunoby's going to be, if that is the trade, it's inevitable he's going to be in that trade because I think he wants a bigger role anyway. And the Raptors kind of have like this weird thing where it's like everyone scores 15 points, it feels like. But like they have Van Vliet, Gary Trent's a good player, Anunoby, Scotty Barnes, they have Chris Boucher, and do they still have Marc Gasol? No, right?
No, he's retired.
He's retired, right?
Boucher resigned. So you can.
But is he their starter? Oh, Siakam.
Yes.
Like that's a good roster, and but they're not good enough to get over the top. So unless Scotty Barnes keeps developing, but regardless, you have assets. Like you have these assets. So, I'm with you there. I think Toronto is a good fit. But I don't know. And we talk about Kyrie too. Besides the Lakers, I haven't really heard anything. Dallas will be a nightmare.
I just like it because they need a second star, as we know, and that's why I've praised it on Twitter.
Although he played off the ball with Harden.
Yeah, like I feel like he would like it, and like it'd be good for the Mavericks if he was in the right headspace. But the Lakers, it's that or nothing as of right now, and they're going to be there with that big three, and that'd be a really good team, and I would be scared of them for the Celtics. But like I don't see it anywhere else. I don't. I was just going to say, like, expect the him blockbuster maybe eventually soon. I mean, I did see Sham said there's no traction right now, but revisit it.
And go on.
To close out everything I was going to say, the Nets, like, we see all these posts, they're like, oh, they're making moves as if Kyrie and KD are going to be there for their training camp roster. Of course they are. And if they have this Ben Simmons, like.
And that's what they have to say.
Like, we saw how it went with Simmons. Yeah, like, that is what they have to say. Yeah, and obviously, like you said, you trade them, you're getting really good players back, and you're still going to be a top team in the conference. Like, it's Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. But it's just like, yeah, like, obviously you're supposed to say that. And they're not – you can't do that again. We saw what happened with Simmons. It should be fun if it actually happens. This next 2 months are going to be crazy regards to them. And, Yeah, it's Kyrie. It's Kyrie to LA. I think will happen eventually, and KD to Phoenix or Toronto, unless a big surprise comes. It's going to be a huge sweepstakes.
Do you I think you know how I was saying like KD like when he's with the Warriors is like when he really only time he's won. I think the only chance Kyrie has to be sane is with LeBron, with the Lakers.
And now we're
So
seeing.
yeah, so we'll see what happens. But if you're the Nets, I mean, I guess if you get a massive haul for KD, then you can settle for less for Kyrie. But I would try to get as much as I can for Kyrie. Like I don't care if he's trying to get to the Lakers. Like again, if KD, if I don't think, if me personally, I don't think KD has a right to do what he's doing based on what he's done for the Nets. Then Kyrie definitely has no right. So like there are some guys, like I think Damian Lillard, if he requested a trade, I would not have given him a problem. He's given everything to that city organization. It'd be like Matt Stafford. Like
Yes.
it didn't work out. It's mutual. A la Carmelo. I don't even know, is a la like an example? No, that's just me being dumb.
It's
Or
yeah.
like if Mike Trout requested a trade, I'd salute him. That is a travesty what's going on over there. Otani too, but he's got a year left, so he's probably gonna hit free agency and come to the Mets, hopefully,
I saw
But
with him, yeah.
But like I just oh my god. This is a great way to end this podcast. But it's just I don't know what's gonna happen. It frustrates me that they're acting like that they gave everything to Brooklyn when they like they fell so short. They win one playoff series.
They both, dude, in 3 years.
And who they
And
beat?
we will the Celtics last
Yeah,
year.
without Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, and again, we've said it a million times. We were not going to win that series.
Yeah, even
regardless.
if you had him, you weren't gonna win it.
This will forever be the biggest team assembled and the biggest letdown to like what could be the greatest team or offense ever. The biggest letdown ever. And this
For
is
sure.
not how
It
you
is the biggest
compete.
letdown ever.
Yeah, by far.
Yeah. Yep. All right. That was a lot of fun.
Big time rants, big time yells.
Yep. All
Good
right.
fun.
I think that's all we got. I gotta go eat dinner. Gotta get the pasta in me. But you guys know where to find us. Like I said, the link will be in one of these corners. I don't know which one it is. I know it flips sometimes, but one of these corners, you got the Doug Edit episode. Look for this segment with Katie and Kyrie also to be in a separate one. I'm gonna put it on YouTube as well as a separate one because I feel like it was a very good debate and it was long. It was long enough for me to make a true video out of it. And like, comment, subscribe, tell your friends. We're really enjoying this, and we're getting more views. We're not
I was
we're not
excited.
Rogan by any means, but
I was excited knowing the Nets drama, knowing the moves
Yeah.
we made.
who knows? The next podcast. Think about it. The breaking news today was a football trade, but these guys want to cause other problems. So next week we might have 2 trades to talk about. We might have 3 trades. Wait. We might have 3 trades.
Why is that?
I don't know. But you know where to find us. Sports Bible Pod on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. We're gonna try to keep posting more YouTubes and shorts, and we're working on a bunch of stuff. We're also working on. Rob doesn't know this, but I think he does. We're gonna work on a website and hopefully create our own blog. That'd be really cool. But just for now, we got this podcast going, and we appreciate it. And that's all I got. You got anything else, Rob?
That's it, man.
All right.
Got writing stuff still on the way. It's a little delayed, obviously, with all this news and from. I was just like I said, I was really excited to do this, and because I've been working a lot, but working
Yeah.
on a lot of blogs, and like you said, we'll keep cranking these out left and right.
Yep. All right. I'll see you later, Rob.
Yep. See you, boss.
See you guys later.